I came home on Friday evening thinking that after a hard week of flying, I would be able to spend time with my lovely wife. Our three more or less independent children live separately, and we have been married for 22 years. Maybe we could go somewhere and have a pleasant evening. My name is David Collins, a polite mechanic and chief of the arrival and departure crew, working the day shift after 25 years of working different shifts. My wife, Judith Collins, was a senior nurse at Central Hospital, also working the day shift, dealing with labor and delivery. We both earn good money, I a little more than she does, thanks to the union, but we comfortably belong to the upper middle class. I drove the pickup into the garage to its usual spot and closed the gate. If we were going to have a good time, it would be in her Lincoln Navigator. If it was a country western night, my F-250 would be ready. The night would be my wife's choice, isn't it always? In any case, it didn't bother me. If Mama's happy, Papa's thrilled. I entered the kitchen from the garage and checked the mail on the kitchen table. I heard a noise upstairs, followed by the sound of footsteps descending the stairs. My attractive 42-year-old wife walked into the living room in a short robe, which never failed to rejoice me when she wore it. "Oh," she exclaimed, "you're early. I didn't expect you for another hour or so." I looked at my watch and realized that I was indeed early, but not that early. "What's going on? Where are we going?" "Well, I'm leaving. I don't know what you're doing." "Okay, my weekend plans just went down the drain." "What do you mean? You're leaving? Where and with whom?" Her gaze fell on the small bag at the end of the sofa. I have a date with William Stratmore. It's for the weekend. I'll be home Sunday evening, and we can talk about it then." What the hell did she just say? I thought. I need to finish packing. She turned and ran upstairs, and I heard the door slam. There's no way in hell you're going to do that, I told myself. My first thought was that I needed backup. I took out my cell phone and dialed my daughter's number. I wasn't going to turn into the bad guy because of what my wife said. "Hi, Daddy. What's up?" she answered cheerfully. I grabbed my wife's bag and dumped the contents on the coffee table. "I need you to come here immediately. Your mother hurt her head, and we need to help her. I need to go." "Dad? Dad?" I heard as I hung up. My son received the same message with an addition. "Call your brother and tell him to get here. Fast." "Dad, what the hell?" But I had already ended the call. Next, I quickly dialed her parents and told them the same thing. They were just as confused, and there were a few shouts as I hung up. From Judith's bag spilled the usual contents: credit cards, keys, 12 packs of protection — I had a vasectomy — and a copy of an email confirmation from a hotel. Room 703 to 710. Like hell, I thought. William Stratmore was one of the pediatric surgeons at her work. Over the last 5 years, I had met him several times at the hospital Christmas party, and this guy was slippery, and that was the best I could say about him. His wife was stunningly beautiful, but I got the impression that she had problems with him. I confiscated the credit cards and car keys. Then I took the email and put it in my pocket, just in case. I took out my mobile phone and opened it. Her code was our anniversary date. Security. Ha. She was still busy upstairs, so I pulled out her emergency contact list from work and found this nice doctor. His mobile number wasn't needed, but his home number could help. I dialed it, and after 2 rings, someone answered. "Oh dear, I was expecting your call, though I don't recognize this number. Is everything all right? Is this Mrs. Stratmore?" "Yes. Who is this?" "This is David Collins. My wife is the head nurse at the hospital where your husband works. I don't know if you remember me." "Yes, Dave, I remember. My husband and I were talking about you and your wife a couple of days ago. I was expecting a call from William when you called. What can I do for you?" "So, your husband isn't home?" "No. He's in Boston at a surgical conference. Is everything all right?" Listen, Mrs. Stratmore, I don't know how to say this, but I don't think he's there. I just had a fight with my wife, and she told me she's going to spend the weekend with him at a hotel until Sunday evening. What? What are you talking about? I think we are both being lied to. I have an email confirmation for the rental of 7 adjoining rooms on the 7th floor from today until Monday. I've saved your number, Mr. Collins. Let me get back to you. I had enough of this crap. I looked at the emergency contact list and found the number for Corinne Adams, the head of the hospital's health department. I knew her. She and my wife were good friends. I also knew her husband, who was a detective sergeant. I dialed her number. She answered almost immediately. Hello? Who is this? Corinne, this is David Collins, Judith's husband. I heard a muffled, "Oh, damn." Yes, Dave. What can I do for you? She was definitely scared. I think there are some inappropriate things happening between Dr. Stratmore and my wife, and I want this to be investigated and stopped. Sorry, Dave, I can't talk right now. I have to go. Click. Wow, that was strange. Almost immediately, Judith's mobile phone rang. On the 3rd ring, feeling my stomach churn, I answered the call. Before I could say anything, the caller started. Judith, he knows. He knows everything. What did you tell him? And that's when I cut in. Not everything, Corinne, but I'm gradually finding out. The sharp gasp on the other end of the line was very telling. Goodbye! Click. I immediately found her home phone number and dialed it. 4 rings, and a man answered. Listen, I don't want to update my cable service. Jerry, it sounds like you've had a bad day. Who is this? Dave Collins, Judith's husband. Yeah, nothing but sales calls and spam. What's up, Dave? Is Corinne home? No. I'm babysitting the kids this weekend. Corinne is on a team-building retreat sponsored by the hospital in Philadelphia. Why do you ask? I took a deep breath and told him everything I had learned and suspected. And I suspect that it's not just the 3 of them involved. 7 hotel rooms. Silence filled the other end of the line. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? I don't know what I'm thinking, but I know one thing. Judith is not leaving here tonight, even if I end up in jail. I'll get in touch with you if I find out anything. Don't do anything stupid. Jerry was a cop, and I could hear the wheels turning in his head. Then Judith came down the stairs, looking like an expensive call girl. A red silk sheath dress. The neckline plunged almost to her waist and was split to the right, up to mid-thigh. She saw her bag dumped on the table. What the hell? I need to go, and you've thrown out all my things. She started gathering everything, and I shouted, Oh no, you're not! You're not going anywhere. Now shut up and sit down. She flinched and said, I don't belong to you. I can do whatever I want. Really? Well, so can I. How do you like this? I reached out and grabbed the deep neckline of her dress, tearing it downwards. Suddenly, she was practically naked, standing there in an open-cup bra, a French lace garter belt, and smoky gray seamed stockings. She screamed and wailed, My dress! No, crap, it's not your dress. I bought it for our 25th wedding anniversary, along with most of the lingerie you're wearing. If you're going anywhere tonight, it won't be in this dress. Then my mobile phone rang. Hello? Dave Collins? This is Mary Stratmore. I'm sorry to say, but you were right. I called the police and reported the car as stolen. I bought the car for him, and it's registered in my name. They stopped him about 5 minutes ago. He claimed he was my husband and had the right to drive the car. In a tense voice, she chuckled. They called me and told me he said he was my husband. I heard him in the background loudly telling the cops that it was impossible. My husband is in Boston. The bastard gasped and said he needed a lawyer. I have to go down and sort out this mess. He's been arrested, and the car has been impounded. Tell your wife I'll come for her next time. We were talking on speakerphone, and Judith realized who was calling. Judith gasped and screamed, What did you do, David? Damn you! Just then, My kids ran in. "Dad, what's going on?" "Mom, are you okay?" asked Dave Jr. My daughter Haley burst into the room and went to her mother. "Are you okay, Mom? What happened to your dress?" "Your father tore it." Their murderous glares turned to me. "What the hell, Mom? What did you do?" "Tell them why, Judith. Go ahead. Why do you have 12 packs of protection in your bag? Planning to make water balloons or what?" "I don't know where they came from. They're not mine," Judith said in an almost inaudible voice. "And where were you headed? A sexy weekend without your husband. Isn't that what you meant?" "I can do what I want. It's my body." As soon as she said it, Judith realized the impact of her words, especially in front of her children. In a quieter voice, she said, "Well, it's my business." Young Dave rolled his eyes and went to the kitchen to get a drink. A few minutes later, he returned with an envelope. "Here, Dad. It's addressed to you." He looked at his mother with disdain on his face. Judith screamed and jumped off the couch, the remains of her dress falling to the floor. "Don't read it," she shouted. Haley rushed to help her mother cover up. "Shut up, Judith, and sit back down." I opened the envelope and read aloud. "My dear husband, my sister is taking care of Mom and needs some help. I'm going to be with them this weekend and will be home on Monday evening. Hugs and kisses, Judith." The kids looked at each other, unsure of what to think. I realized she had written the note before facing me. Her confusion and panic would be her downfall. Then, as if fate was munching on popcorn and watching this show, the doorbell rang, and before Michael could open it, Judith's mother and father burst in. "Judith, are you all right?" her mother asked. Her father roared, "What is going on here?" Judith fainted. "Hi, Mom and Dad. Welcome to the shitstorm central. Your daughter has just managed to destroy our marriage and probably ruin her own life and career," I seethed. Her mother and my daughter tried to revive Judith while her father slowly boiled with anger. I filled them in on what had happened, and the atmosphere grew colder and colder. Around this time, Judith came to and looked around. In a hysterical state, she begged her mother for help. "Help? You need help? How about calling your sister for help? You were supposed to help her with your mother. Maybe she can return the favor." With those words, I handed the note to her father and dialed her sister's number. As he read it aloud, the phone was answered. "Hello? Is this David?" "Yes, Mavis. How are you? How is Mom doing? Is she okay?" "Oh, yes, she's fine. Judith has been a great help. I don't know what I would do without her." "Can I speak to her, please?" "Oh, well, she's busy right now. How about I ask her to call you back in a bit?" Her mother grabbed the phone and growled at her other daughter. "There's no need for that, you smug little brat." "Mom?" Mavis screamed in hysterics. Judith couldn't take it anymore and collapsed to the floor again. Now she was almost completely exposed in front of her children and parents. "Don't bother checking on my health, Mavis." She ended the call amid her other daughter's muffled cries. Around this time, my phone rang again. "David, it's Jerry. You were right. I got a search warrant for the 7 hotel rooms. We conducted a search based on the missing persons warrant I issued under oath and found 12 more people, including my wife, 3 male doctors, 4 female doctors, 4 nurses, and another woman from the HR team. And my wife. I'm really sorry, Dave. Truly sorry." "Me too, Jerry. But it is what it is. Thank you." I turned to my soon-to-be ex-wife. "Go upstairs and put on something decent and get out of my house." She lifted her whining self into a standing position and turned to go upstairs. Then she stopped and said, "Please, don't throw me out like this." "Oh, you mean the way you destroyed our marriage with your 'it's my body, I'll do what I want' nonsense? I've been tempted many times. I could have slept with the young waitress at the diner where we usually had coffee after the night shift. I could have gotten involved with the woman at the Lincoln dealership where we bought the car. Damn it, even your own sister came on to me. But I was in love with you, crap, and this is the thanks I get. Get out of my life, scum. She completely lost her composure, turned and ran upstairs, losing a high-heeled shoe along the way. Silence fell over the living room. Then my daughter said, "I'll go and make sure she doesn't do anything stupid, Dad." Judith came downstairs about 30 minutes later with a suitcase, dressed in jeans and a hoodie. Her makeup and hair were a disaster. My older son stopped her at the door. "Don't worry, Mom. Adrian and I will plan the wedding so it doesn't interfere with any of your sex parties. Not that you're invited. Maybe Dad can bring his new girlfriend." Adrian was Dave's serious girlfriend, but we didn't know how serious. Now we did. Completely lost, Judith stopped at the front door. Her mother walked her out. Her father turned to me. "Is there any way to get through this? She clearly needs help, but it seems nothing happened. She can discuss it with my lawyer. Remember, son, she loves you." I looked him straight in the eye and said, "Funny way of showing it." The funny thing was that they were all spewing the same crap. Adults, all consenting, doing nothing wrong, until they got caught. It then came out that the good doctor had used a company, hospital credit card to rent the rooms and pay for the drinks and food for the weekend party. The hospital tried to avoid publicity, but 8 participants were listed as being on duty or at some fake official seminar or hospital event. When this came to light, several marriages fell apart. This wasn't the first party, but it was definitely the last. I filed for divorce. I loved her more than my luggage, as they say in the movies. So I let it drag on while she attended counseling. The kids stayed by my side and saw that at least I was making an effort. But it hurt so much, and it hit like a bolt out of the blue. How could I have been so blind? The airline was sympathetic, and I received an extended sick leave. She lost her job along with everyone else involved. The good doctor was fired, then sued and held accountable. Corinne lost her job, as did her assistant. There was a severe shortage of nurses, and several physician positions opened up. My wife was the latest recruit of the sex club, as they were always looking for fresh meat. They had noticed her quite a while ago, and Corinne worked on her, saying she owed it to herself that it would be a lot of fun, that I would never find out, and that many husbands enjoy their wives sleeping with other men. It took 6 months, but eventually they convinced her. It took over a year, but I loved her and couldn't live without her. The old question, would you be better off with her in your life or without her? I watched her like a hawk. I constantly bombarded her with questions about whether everything was okay with us or not. She reported back, and I listened closely. It got to the point where it drove her crazy. But by listening to her therapist, her parents, and our children, she understood that I was making incredible efforts. And she loved me. God, I believed her. I sued the hospital and Dr. Stratmore. I had to get in line behind his wife's divorce suit, but I beat out other affected parties. Together, we cleaned him out. The hospital didn't fare much better. My children and I settled out of court for a 6-figure sum in a sealed agreement. The other plaintiffs received a total of 7 figures in sealed settlements. My sister-in-law wasn't welcome anywhere. I don't know if her parents still talk to her. Was I lucky with the outcome, with how everything turned out? The fact that, at the right time, my mind was firing on all 8 cylinders, and the support from my children and my friends. I didn't think I took my marriage for granted, but maybe I did. No more. It took over a year, but we made it back, and our sex life is incredibly satisfying. Sometimes she cries in postcoital bliss and apologizes for all the pain she caused. But it's gradually getting better. And as I said, I love her. But don't think I'm a pushover. About 8 months after this hellish storm, I ran into the doctor coming out of the gym. I beat the living crap out of him, breaking 3 of his fingers and crushing one of his assets. His good looks are gone. Luckily for me, I had a cop with me at the time. Hey. So, life goes on. Yes, I know. Very tasteless. Brutal. Don't mess with my wife and I'll remain meek.
Thank you for listening until the end.